Hi, Dustin.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I totally slipped my mind.
It's all good, man. And I know you got a meet and greet again as well shortly. Is that right?
Yeah, it's about like 12 minutes, I think.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll crack on if you don't mind. Uh, so,
Yeah, sure.
so thank you very much for your time. I'm Ian. I'm from Hi-Fi Way in Australia. Thanks for squeezing me in. I know you're busy. We're obviously here to talk about your 10th album that you just released a couple of weeks ago. Um, Much darker theme than previous. It's kind of a continuation of Guardians, but darker again. Is that a pathway that you guys are heading towards now?
No, I wouldn't say that. I just think that that's how like the songwriting came together. Speaking for me personally, Backfire was the first song that I wrote for the record, and that song is I don't know too much about music theory, but primarily that whole song is in what I am familiar with, which is the harmonic minor, which is a pretty dark sounding scale. And so that song just kind of lended itself that way. And with like the blasting and stuff, it just like came together like that. And then for me personally, I was just like stuck in that dark sound when I was writing the early stages for the songs that I contributed to the record. So I'm not going to say that's going to be like committed to like what the sound's going to be, but that's certainly what the sound was like for Death Below. Um, we wanted to intentionally have all the songs flow together. That doesn't mean they all needed to be dark, but it's just kind of what we were feeling at the time, and it gives this album its identity. Um, that's not going to be how we move forward. We're always going to write what we're feeling. But yeah, it just like kind of gives this album its own identity and how it's going to stand out in our catalog from now on moving forward is like, whoa, that was a dark record for ABR. So
You were talking there about the writing that you do, and I've seen some stuff in your Instagram and things like that. Despite being a bassist, it seems to be that some of the songs you actually started off not just on the guitar but also on the drums. So how do you manage to because your music's so intricate, so how do you manage to go from just a basic a drum track as an example to how intricate the music gets? What's that process?
yeah, so for me, the process is it typically starts with guitar. I'll write a riff on guitar, or I'll write a nice section, and then I might get stuck. And so at that point, that's when I sit down on the drum kit and I'm like, all right, cool. So what intricate drum part can I write for this section? How can I do this? And I have my own setup set up with like mics and everything, and I can record myself. It's not, the best studio quality, but it sounds great and it's inspiring for me. So then I will, mess around with trying out three, four different feelings for the part. And that often will help me take the song to where I want it to go next.
Yeah.
So the drums really do help me transition and fill in the gaps. And also, sometimes it's just like inspiring to have a guitar part. You don't really have drums yet. Sit down, you write it, and you're so stoked on what you came up with on drums that it helps you bridge into the next part. So yeah, it's just part of the writing process for me. And I'm not capable of playing everything that I put down, but it's super fun to sit down there and try to like figure out what because I'm way better with my hands than I am with my feet. Like if I were a pop punk drummer or something like that, I'd be great. But when I gotta do constant double bass and stuff like that, that's not me. So, but yeah, it's just like to help fill in the gaps and help me take the song to where I think it needs to go. And that's where playing drums fits in with my songwriting process.
Nice, nice. There were a few new sounds that I noticed on the album, such as the song "Cleansing." That has is there a choir in that song?
Did you ask if there was a choir? Sorry, you cut out.
Yeah, is there a choir in the song "Cleansing"?
Uh, we didn't like record a choir or anything, but we do use like MIDI choirs and stuff, and there probably is some of that in there. That's in a lot of our songs in the back end. A choir is a very big part of it for a lot of our songs.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
So you're utilizing the same production team, Carson and Grant. They've been with you for 5 albums now since Rescue and Restore. What is it that they bring to the
Yeah.
table that you keep using them?
Well, they have a badass new studio, I'll tell you that. So they're where we're from. In Lidditz is where their studio is at, and they just opened up this awesome studio. Death Below was very unique in that we recorded it in several different studios while their new studio where they're at today was being built. Um, and honestly, like you mentioned, we actually the first record we did with them was the Sleddon Hill, the Christmas album we did. That was the first one. And then if you want to say like our first like, ABR original record, it was Rescue and Restore, which is like a year after that. And like we were friends with those guys before we started working with them and recording with them. Like Grant played in a band called This or the Apocalypse. Carson played in a band called Century, and we had played shows with them and become friends with them. And so like our working relationship was already established and already there. And we loved our workflow. And honestly, just like it felt like part of the process to come back to them every 2 years, to do a new album together was started to feel routine and like we were at home. So it's just like they bring so much to the table and that they have an awesome studio, they have awesome ideas, and their workflow is so good. We get a lot of stuff done in there when we're there all day, every day, 5 days a week. So
You mentioned about the having to do albums every 2 years. Um, the lyrics of the band are always very uplifting and about how you can fight through whatever you're going through and be a success. But the music's obviously contrasts with that. How do you manage? Well, I rephrase that. Is that something you guys set out to do, or is it just how you all feel?
yeah. So we would say our slogan is angry music for happy people.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and that's because the nature of metal, the nature of metal is, it's aggressive, it sounds angry, and then like you said, you delve into our lyrics and you see a clear positive message. That
Yeah,
has been big with us ever since the beginning, was that we want to be a positive influence. We want to be positive all around. Um, and so even if a song kind of has like a dark toll to it, like let's say like The Cleansing, we
mm,
find a way to wrap that up so that it's or Bloodletter, that's another one. Like these songs are kind of brutal. We find a way to tie it all together and end on a positive note. That's something that's very important for us.
yeah. The last song as well, which I think's the one with Spencer from Under Oath. That's another one exactly like that. For the first 6 minutes of that
Yeah.
song, it's very angry, and then it has this really nice uplift at the end. I do recall that. Speaking of Spencer and the likes of Jesse, you got JT and that as well. How did you manage to get them guys involved?
Yeah, so we just reach out to people who we are stoked and happy to have the opportunity to work with, people that we love, that we think could contribute cool ideas to the album. And fortunately, this time around, it worked out that everybody that we had in mind was like, "Yeah, I want to do it." And I'm so stoked with how Jason's solo turned out, JT's vocal part turned out, Spencer's vocal part turned out, and Jesse's. Like, I love that they were each able to contribute something to the record and have them all be so different from one another too. So um, love that all those guys wanted to be a part of our record. Really adds something for me.
Now, obviously, I know we've got the time running out, so I will throw out one question, which will be obviously for the Australian fans. I know you're touring in America at the moment with Devil Wears Prada, whose last album's great as well, like yours, and so Bleak from Within's last album's great as well. What's the what's the that'd be a hell of a tour, by the way. It'd be a great tour. What are the plans for Australia moving forward?
Yeah, we know it's been a while since we've
10
been
years,
there, and it's how when's the last time we were there? Was it it was
2013,
with
sound
North
right?
Lane, I think, right?
Oh yeah, could
No,
be.
we've
Yeah.
been back since then. We came with North Lane. I think it was 20, I thought it was 2018 or 19. It was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It was before COVID. Maybe it wasn't that late, but I know it was after Soundwave. We did a tour with North Lane. Um, yeah, we want to get back. I love Australia. I speak an Australian accent every day. So I would love to would love to get back down there. Seriously, I fooled somebody the other night. I was talking to them like I had an Australian accent, and they literally were like, "Are you from Australia?" I was like, "No, I'm from right here." You know? So, so I practice enough, and it's one of my favorite places to tour. And we want to get back there, and we're working on it, and we hope to get down there soon. So,
Brilliant, brilliant. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much the 11, 12 minutes done. I know you've got a bunch of meet and greet stuff to do. Thank you very much for taking time out with me this morning. And hopefully I'll see you guys down here sooner rather than later.
I hope so too. Thanks for having
Excellent.
me, and I'm sorry I was late. I looked down and I was like, "Oh shit, I got to do this interview." So,
It's all good. It's all
well,
good,
thanks, Ian. I
Dustin.
really appreciate it.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
All right, take care. See ya.